kind of frustrated a little bit. They felt like they should be getting a few calls. And when you're not getting the calls, you got to play through those.
Final score 118-109. Lakers fall to 6-3 on the year, 2-3 at Staples Center. Let's welcome in Mike Bresnahan. Brez, what do you got tonight?
You know, I feel like maybe the Lakers have been a tired team the last few games. They had the 2 games in Memphis. They trailed by double digits in each one of those games. And then tonight, they gave up 65 points in that first half, guys. And James, you said it a few minutes ago. You said if you're behind, you know, and you're struggling constantly to try to overturn the lead for the opposing team, it adds up, doesn't it? And let's not forget the Lakers, as we've mentioned many times on these shows, only 71 days between winning Game 6 of the finals and opening night just a couple short weeks ago. So maybe they're a little bit of a tired team right now. They're on the road, too, for 4 games, first game back.
I think you hit it right on the nose there. We might not be able to see it, but subconsciously, you know, this team just turned it around so quickly. We don't make excuses because,
right.
But you can kind of see it tonight, the slow starts, the inability to kind of sustain a good defense, turn the ball over. They only had 13, but the 5 they had were critical. They kind of gave San Antonio the momentum. So, yeah, you know, they are going to suffer from that, but still got to play the game.
Yeah, no doubt. That's one of the things that I always hated, playing games on the road around the holidays, and you come back, everybody want to celebrate with you. You don't get any rest, and it looked like they were a little, you know, the legs were a little weary out there, and because you have to spend that time with the family. And I know it's the COVID-19, but the immediate family, you want to hang out, spend some time with the kids and stuff. That looked like a team that was just tired, had no legs.
All right, guys, let's hear from Frank Vogel. He's speaking with Mike Trudell and the media.
Hey, Frank, what did you think of the shot quality for San Antonio and all the threes? Was it a mix of good shooting and lack of defense, or how did you see that?
Well, we helped their good shooting with bad defense in the first half. Played a really poor defensive first half. You know, and then when we did make the right coverages, you know, they hit tough shots. You know, you give them credit. They played a terrific basketball game. They really shot the ball well. And they made us pay for any types of mistakes. LaMarcus Aldridge, in particular, had a spectacular game. We didn't handle him well enough at all. You know, as a result, we got outplayed and they got the W.
You mentioned before the game you thought it was going to be difficult to beat a team 3 times in this short of a time span. Was there a way that you tried to get over that mental part of things and you know, try not to give them that advantage? I shouldn't call it advantage, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we talked about it. We know it's a hard thing to do. You know, it's hard. It's a hard thing to come off of a road trip, and you know, the first game's always tough. But when you have a team that you just beat twice in their building, going to be motivated, and you know, we just didn't play well enough to get over that hurdle. You know, it happens, and again, credit to Spurs for playing a great game.
Dave?
You guys fell out early and then made that run. It just seemed like you didn't have that extra shot to really go over the hump. Is it a tough thing to manage the energy? And I've asked about this before, but you know, if you guys are making a run at your home building with fans in the stands, you know, maybe you draw for that extra bit of whatever juice that you get from the atmosphere. Do you have to go about it a different way?
You know, I think the fans would have an impact in a situation like that, but it doesn't change anything that we're doing, you know, from a coaching standpoint, from a players trying to execute standpoint, energy and adrenaline, you know, I think it could impact, but, you know, it doesn't change anything we're doing. You know, we know we have to do to execute at a high enough level to win the game, and we fell short tonight.
Frank, you guys have been playing these tight games on the road, and then you've been able to kind of pull away in the fourth quarter. Do you feel like anything about that trend maybe came back to bite a little bit when you guys had a 2-point game in the fourth quarter?
Not really. We just didn't make enough plays. You know, I thought we made the right adjustments with the lineup in terms of trying to go small. You know, longer than we did in the first half, which we were having trouble with their spread 5 attack with an all-star at the center position, and you know, we made the right adjustments. We just fell short. We couldn't couldn't score the ball at a high enough level in that fourth quarter when we were getting stops during that run, and ultimately weren't able to prevail.
Dan?
Frank, you guys got pretty good minutes, I thought, from Taylor. Was that kind of what you envisioned that he could do in a game like this when energy is a little low, especially offensively, that he could change it with sort of his penetration and playmaking?
Absolutely. He was terrific, in particular in that first half. Really getting into the paint. I think it was in that second quarter. Had a few possessions in a row where he got to the rim, made solid plays, and that's what he's capable of. And when you ask him to play off the ball, he's a great secondary scorer as well. So he definitely gave us a good lift tonight.
Last question, Michael Duarte.
Frank, you mentioned how spectacular LaMarcus Aldridge was. He wasn't in those 2 games in San Antonio. Just how different and difficult of a task does that make that San Antonio Spurs offense when he's healthy and playing the way he is?
Yeah, they're a different team. There's no doubt about that. He's one of the best, especially when they play him full time with the 5. Makes their offense and their ball movement and penetration really, really difficult to guard. He was terrific tonight, and they're definitely a different team with him in there. So, we could play better than we did against it, but we haven't seen a player of that caliber as a spread 5 yet this season. So. Without practice time and all those types of things, we just weren't good enough with our coverages with what we had to do.
Truly, the Lakers, their bread and butter is their defense, and they pride themselves in it. Unfortunately, you can't take it for granted. You can't think that you're going to be able to turn it on when you need it, especially against a much improved San Antonio team with Aldridge back in the lineup, a team that just came off a hot shooting game versus the Clippers. They're going to come in here and try to sweep 2 LA teams, 2 of the best teams in the West, just to measure where they are. And I think the last 2 games and tonight's game, San Antonio feels like they can play. They played well. The defense just was not ready to switch. The communication, a lot of open threes for San Antonio. And then offensively, they couldn't click, because when you're not defending well, it affects your defense. Matthews couldn't hit, Kuz couldn't hit, rushing shots, guiding shots, and San Antonio, give them credit. They played a pretty good game. They're well coached.
Came in, beat the Clippers and Lakers.
That's what I was going to say about it. So you're going to have these games in the NBA where you come up against a team like the San Antonio Spurs. You think about this. They got 2 All-Stars on that team, DeRozan and LaMarcus Aldridge. And then you got a gold medal winner in Rudy Gay on the bench. So this is not some team.
Patty Mills is a winner.
Yeah. This is not some team you're just going to come out and say flip the switch on, because they have a lot of pride. They're a well-coached team, and they're a team with a lot of veteranism. And so you have to watch out for teams like this, especially going on the road, because they have something to prove, because you went into their building and lost 2 straight.
And remember, there was no LaMarcus Aldridge in that sweep of the Spurs on the road. Tonight, LaMarcus Aldridge plays, guys. He's stretching the floor now. He's shooting 7 threes, Rob, hitting 3 of them. He was a matchup nightmare for Gasol, and he lit the Lakers up. 28 points, 11-18.
I think people don't realize how good this guy is. He's an all-star. He's one of the guys I think he had a record where he scored 50 points and none of them were threes. That lets you know the boy can put up some buckets. So he is the type of guy that can play defense, can play offense, and he's so unassuming because he plays with the Spurs. Everybody knew about him when he played with Portland, but it's amazing. But people have forgotten about him when he went to the Spurs, because that's what the Spurs do. They kind of lull you to sleep, and next thing you know, they're getting the dub.
No question. I remember when I was fortunate enough to be in on the meeting when the Lakers were recruiting Aldridge. He didn't want to play center. That's something he didn't want to do, and I think it didn't go as well as we expected to go. But he's the kind of player that he's not like a big dominant player, but he can shoot. And
He's always had great touch.
And when he's hitting, his shot, he's almost unstoppable. We talk about how unstoppable AD is and some of the other guys, but when Aldridge is hitting shots like he can, and now he's stretched it to the 3, he could be a nightmare for a defensive.
He had made only 4 threes entering tonight. He had 3. So that's just the way it goes sometimes when you play the Lakers. We saw that with, what's his name in Portland?
Trent.
Yes.
Yeah.
Got
Trent
hot.
Jr.
Yeah, Trent Jr. People love playing the Lakers.
Oh, we know that. So listen, Spurs threes, okay? 16 of 35 tonight from 3. 6 guys with multiple 3-pointers, 8 total hit threes, Big Game James. But you said something that I wrote down earlier. Slow to rotate, coverage is off. wide open threes?
Well, because, Popovich he's a genius coach. The motion that they run, the defense is going to have to react. And so it's those split seconds, those 2 or 3 seconds when you're trying to recover is where they get you. They drive, DeRozan drives, they got Murray, they got Mills. Don't forget about Mills. He's a freaking nightmare. So they're well groomed. They run their offense to the point where they make the defense give them something. So your antennas have to be up when you're playing San Antonio.
Yes, the thing about them is you forget also that DeJounte Murray was on the verge of being an all-star, great rookie, and then he had an ACL injury, and now he's back and he's starting to get into form. This is a good San Antonio Spurs team. I'm not going to take anything away from their win, but the Lakers did come out a little lackadaisical on defense. They didn't rotate as much, and the Spurs took advantage of that. And that's what you have to do as a professional team. When a team doesn't have the eye of the tiger, you go out there and take advantage of them.
Think the Lakers are missing KCP a little bit, that starting unit?
Yeah, they definitely missed the defensive prowess, but they would have to have a collective effort, even if they had KCP tonight.
Yeah.
They definitely